Twisted Metal. I am waiting any moment for a announcement for the slightest slither of a Twisted Metal game. I love Twisted Metal. I don't play it nearly enough. I've gone through every Twisted Metal game that I own. Except I don't have Small Brawl because I want to find it locally. And actually, one time I found it out of town, but stubborn me, I felt like the thrill was over with. I just didn't want to have all the games. I wanted to have that continuous hunt for Small Brawl. I just felt like it was over with. It just fit, kind of like with Joker and Batman, their whole constant, struggle. Going against each other. Joker doesn't want to kill Batman because it's just too much fun, and that's kind of how I feel with Small Brawl. If I got it, I feel like it's just done. And of course, there's other merchandise of Twisted Metal I can collect, but I just want the games. I don't want. Maybe I would want a few things like a Sweet Tooth figure, or I have a Funko Pop of Sweet Tooth and his ice cream truck. I don't think a whole lot of people know about that actually, but it's amazing, and it's the Twist Metal Black ice cream truck. It's nothing like Head On or the new Twist. Well, not sorry, not new. The 2012 release of Twisted Metal. So anyway, I wanted to make this video, and I've actually noticed that other people have made this as well. This is kind of like a wish list. And however, people were not really touching on things that I found. I don't know. Heck, I won't say that. I'm just gonna go on with my wish list. Basically, this is how I think the new Twisted Metal game would be perfect. Now, of course, it doesn't need every single one of these things for me to love it. As long as it's just not. I felt like 2012, the 2012 release of Twisted Metal was just way too flashy. I don't really understand why it was just wanting to do so much with a concept that just was working. Of course, there were things that I felt like needed adjusting. But anyway, I need to go through my notes before I explain some of my notes by explaining the intro to this. This is my ideal Twisted Metal game. The character roster. Yeah, let's go ahead and get started on the characters. So, we don't need an abundance. We need to make sure that we have quality over quantity. We do not need 100 characters just to sell a game. Let's have 20 focused characters. Rampage Total Destruction. My goodness. I just thought about that, but they had a lot of characters, and I only remember a few of them. It was a decent Rampage game, but that's another series that needs to come back because I love Rampage. That's why I really enjoyed Terra the Hemosaurus from last year because it brought the nostalgic feeling Rampage back, regardless of its graphical decision. But yeah, anyway. In my opinion, we need 10 default characters and 10 secret characters. That would be ideal in my opinion. Finding these characters need to be similar to what was in Twisted Metal Black, where it's something you can't organically stumble across. Something like shooting, things you wouldn't necessarily think about, but it would make sense, like shooting down the airplane in the, let's see, what was it, the junkyard, and it crashed into the side of the parking lot to reveal a tunnel leading to Yellow Jacket, or jumping on top of a building to find Cage Warthog, shooting the side of a ship to reveal a door to find Manslaughter Black. Stuff like that would be absolutely phenomenal to see again. I don't think man, was there any secret characters in Twisted Metal 2012? I feel silly asking that, but I don't remember anything. Sorry for not researching that before this. If there is, definitely feel free to correct me because I don't even remember. Story layers. Now this is the biggest thing. This may be very divisive, and probably a lot of people will disagree with this, but this would be fascinating to me, especially if it's done right. It would have to be done really well for it to work, and I call it story layers. 3 runs to complete a story. Now, you could say that one run could complete a story, but it could continue. Every Twisted Metal game, I feel like this would be a very interesting way to improve the Twisted Metal formula, because basically every game is a reimagining hardly any of the games are a continuation, and it's very debatable what is and what isn't a continuation. From what I understand, you have Twisted Metal 1, Twisted Metal 2, Head On, and wherever you want to put Black, and then you have 3 and 4, Small Brawl. It's really up to you to decide where you want to put them. And in terms of dimensions, what's going on at the same time, why not play around with that idea? However, for example, 3 runs for all stories, what does this mean? Well, let's just say you're playing as Sweet Tooth. I'll use him as a very mainstream, popular choice. Why not? And let's use his story from Black, for example. Spoiler alert for a game that's really old from 2001. In the end, he decides to break the vial that he's given by Calypso. He kills Calypso, and just doesn't. He chooses not to drink the vial of the preacher. So what happens? What happens next after that? And this is what I would love to see the game do. You have the choice to end the character's story there, or decide to continue it. What does Sweet Tooth do after that? What are his conflicts? Well, in this game, like I said, we could explore that further. I don't want to think of any examples right now. I didn't make any notes of what could happen. I just feel like it would be interesting to see this character's story progress a couple times. Why 3 times? Because, like I said before, we want quality over quantity. We don't want 10 continuations of the story. We want to be able to have very well written characters without burning out the writers. And so this is just one of those things. If they don't do it, fine. I would be glad just to play Twisted Metal again. I just think this would be an interesting way to improve the formula. And also, why not have alternate endings? Have like silly little endings you could do, perhaps. This would be probably, I don't know, alternate endings for the 3rd run of the story. The first 2 would have very linear endings, just one ending, and then at the 3rd run, you could have it end differently. Just giving Twisted Metal more reasons to replay again, other than just a blast of driving around and shooting people with weapons. I want the level selection back from Twisted Metal Black. I can't remember if it was in Head On or the 2012 games. It might have been in Head On, where you could select a certain level that you wanted. So let's bring that back. I would love to have maybe one car only, but looking back now, it's not. I don't know. I'd like to have the character in their respected vehicle. And we'll mention something later about a gimmick that was scaring me from leaks. Age details. As the story progresses, we should see aging for the arenas and the vehicles. And also, we want the characters to evolve. Whenever we go to the next layer of the story, let's show how the other characters evolved. Let's just say that, what's his name? Agent Stone. Let's just say Agent Stone is in the game, but he has only the top half of his head. And you don't know what happened. In a way, it's kind of a spoiler, but however, it's ambiguous, and you want to know what happens with the story, and that entices you to want to see the other characters. See how the other characters are evolving as you're playing through one character's story. And then when you eventually go to another character's story, you can see the character you played as previously going through his progression, and you're like, oh yeah, I remember when that was happening. And I think that would be really fun. That would be really fun and interesting to see executed well enough. Now, here's something I threw in there. Characters talk to each other during battle. A fun little exchange, kind of like with what the new Mortal Kombat games do. Whenever 2 characters approach each other, they acknowledge the character and their traits and their personality. And I think that would be kind of fun for Twisted Metal. Whenever you drive by or something like that, or you're in a battle with a specific character, just maybe have them have a fun little exchange. I think that would be really, really cool. Difficulty. If we're going to do harder difficulties, I think we should remove mechanics. Have no heads-up display, remove healing stations and items, make difficulty interesting and fun. And if you want a harder experience, then you won't mind not having these things. At least, I mean, in my opinion. I mean, later on, if you're good enough at the game, then why do you care about where your health is? Why do you care about where your turbo is? You want usually people that want a more challenging experience want a more organic experience from what I've seen personally, and so that's why we should remove certain mechanics. And same thing, I'm very inspired by The Last of Us when they remove the listen mechanic from part one. I've always loved that and I've always respected that, and I feel like other games should adopt from that. Shadow of the Colossus, they actually add symbols to attack on the colossi, and I love little adjustments like that, little organic adjustments. That's just absolutely fascinating to me. So in terms of difficulty, let's see that. Maybe it's just me. Longer cooldowns for specials. Now when I said this, cooldowns for specials. What am I talking about exactly? So I guess for the button inputs, maybe. I thought that I don't know why I put this actually. Oh, I'm sorry. Special text for the characters. I apologize. So specials. Is this a Oh, I'm sorry. This is actually a continuation for the difficulty, I believe. I think. Sorry. Anyway, so whenever a character has special attacks, and I think there should be longer cooldowns for it, because sometimes you can get too many of them, and it feels like it would be much more rewarding to get a special every once in a while, or maybe in a very specific way. That I don't know. Maybe I can already hear a bunch of people disagreeing with me about this already, but it feels like sometimes specials are just added way too quickly in the games, and we definitely don't want any bloating. We don't want to add more health to enemies. That's not an interesting way to make a game more difficult. And we also I would love to see. I'm sorry. I keep saying we as I'm representing a bunch of people. I'm sorry. I'm meaning myself. I want to see unlockables on harder difficulties. If I beat the game on the hardest difficulty, I want to unlock some special making of or deleted concepts, stuff that we used to see back in like the PS2 games. I think if you beat the game on God mode, you unlocked a special cutscene or a special cut model interaction, and so I want stuff unlockable for completing harder difficulties. Bring that back. Customization, yeah, it was definitely fun in the 2012 game. Bring it back, customizing your vehicle and maybe some different character skins. That would be something you could unlock completing the game on the harder difficulties. Maybe Sweet Tooth can have his hair blue, or something like that, or have blue spots. Maybe have like a Kratos reference where Kratos's original tattoos were blue. And so I don't want any more unrelated gimmicks like racing, missile navigation. Now, what does that mean, missile navigation? This is back on the 2012 game where you guided a rocket shot from a vehicle. I didn't really care for this. I don't know. It left your vehicle vulnerable. I don't know if you were I don't even remember if you were shielded or not. But I didn't like this. I personally didn't care for it. So I really don't want to see it again. Mini games, I don't know if if it's unattached from the main story, fine, or maybe just entirely optional, like with Head On. I feel like Head On did just fine. Just having it optional, just kind of tucked away somewhere hidden in the level. Why not? And if once you unlock it, you can access it from the menu. That way, you don't have to go through the level to find it. Do something like that. Voiceover for character conditions. Oh yes, I remember what this was. Sorry, it's been a week or so since I wrote down these notes, so I'm trying to remember what I was talking about. So voiceover for character conditions means like if your health is getting low and then there's a robotic voice, especially in Head On. Health is low, low health. At least make it to where I can disable it, because I don't want to hear that all the time. It might be cool for maybe one combat scenario, but after a while you get tired of hearing health is low, low health, or death warrant has been eliminated. I don't really care to hear that every time. So at least let it be an option, just like how puzzle hints should be an option to disable, unlike a certain game from last year. Returning characters. I was going to update this list, and sorry, I tried to. I didn't want to just use Twisted Metal Black as every single one, and I think I was going to change one of them, but I can't remember, so I'm sorry. These are the 10 characters I would like to see come back. Sweet Tooth from Twisted Metal Black, that's a very popular one. Junkyard Dog from Twisted Metal Black, Cage from Twisted Metal Black, Sam Boomer from Lost, Twisted Metal Lost. He's the guy that he has no head and he drives a rally car. I think that's what they're called. I thought his story was very interesting, and we never really got to see an official story or an official part in a game. He was very unique to Lost. Black from Twisted Metal Black, Minion from Twisted Metal Black, Axel from Twisted Metal 2. I thought the Axel from Twisted Metal 2 was a lot more interesting. He had a very interesting father-son dynamic. And in Twisted Metal Black, it was just more like you killed my wife and I'm going to get revenge, blah blah blah. And I'm like, I like the father and son thing better. Spectre from Small Brawl. Now here's the one that I just kind of threw in there just to be silly. But I thought Spectre from Small Brawl was fun. He unlocked the car that his father drove, and why not just kind of bring him back, just to have a small little connection to Small Brawl, maybe. Mr. Graham from Twisted Metal Black and Dollface from Twisted Metal Black. Sorry, most of these are from Twisted Metal Black, just because I feel like the characters are very well designed from Twisted Metal Black. And so I didn't want to go through each individual one explaining why. I just kind of wanted to throw out there what I believe should be in the new Twisted Metal game. Early design, conceptual concepts, challenges, arena and vehicle specifics. I love seeing those. Like knock down a water tower, and if it to affect an enemy's health, stuff like that, and use Sweet Tooth special to kill an enemy, or maybe even get more specific, like defeat an enemy while they're jumping in the air, stuff like that. Time trials, definitely defeat all the enemies within a certain amount of time. I love time trials, especially when they're done really well, like Crash Bandicoot. Now, to be specific, Crash Bandicoot 1, 2, and 3. Crash Bandicoot 4 is about time. No thank you. I don't think anyone that has done those really enjoyed it. So, and I tried it a few times. I got a couple of them, but even after that, I was like, nah, I'm gonna pass on that. That's just gonna take way too much time. I like the medals, the gold medals, silver medals that you can earn in Twisted Metal 2012. That was really fun. Let's bring that back. Endurance mode rewards. I feel like the endurance mode should have rewards. I can't remember if it was in a Twisted Metal game before or not, but however, I feel like that every little thing should have purpose. If I defeat 10 enemies in endurance mode, I feel like I should get something. It's something like a skin, perhaps, or a paint job, something that that motivates you to say, hey, if I get 100 kills, I'll get something really special. And of course, no microtransactions, because what's the point of doing a challenge if someone can just buy it? It doesn't make it special anymore. I feel like people just don't understand that. Level design. I want tight platforming like Twisted Metal Black. Sorry, I love Twisted Metal Black. What can I say? I mean, it's very apparent. Secrets and area hazards. I don't know why this stuff wouldn't come back. I just wanted to throw it in here. Crash physics. No, it doesn't have to be fragile, like, maybe nothing like Grand Theft Auto 5 or something like that. It's just I want to see damage to the vehicle. This hasn't been a problem. Heck, even the very first Twisted Metal game showed damage on your vehicle, and that was incredible. The driver should have cuts. Maybe in terms of being dismembered, I don't know. I don't know if you had to suspend belief a little bit, especially in terms of just story. But I mean, heck, your vehicle's getting destroyed. So how do you explain how it's repaired in the next? I don't know. There's a lot of things that's not explained, but it's a video game. I really love it when the vehicles that you destroy remain in the arena and they become obstacles, and maybe there can be particular vehicles that can use those destroyed vehicles as weapons. Like maybe a vehicle can have a magnet that they can attach the destroyed vehicle to and still use it. They can use it for vehicles that are currently active. However, when they're destroyed, you can still use it. Kind of like with Junkyard Dog, where you can launch vehicles, stuff like that. Online, I'm not the biggest online fan. I don't even PvP on the From Software games anymore. Just don't find it interesting, just because of particular exploits and just I won't. I'll just stop right there. I just don't care for online anymore. However, I just feel like it needs to be a side edition. It doesn't need to be fully focused on, because that's the 2012 game crashed and burned because they focused too much on the online play, which had very little, it's just had a short-term life to it. And maybe if they have to, add it later. See how the game runs with people and work on how others have experienced the game, and be inspired to add that online play later. And needs to sync with story challenges. Whatever you earn in story, I mean, should be applied with online. Like if you a story or just individual challenges like endurance, if you unlock a skin, you should be able to apply it to online. I think that's what I meant here. Or I don't know, maybe have online have its own separate unlocks, but still, no microtransactions. Have everything earned by skill and determination. We want the. I'm saying we again. I don't know why I'm saying that. The world. I want ambiguity. I want it to be like Black into the or 2012. I believe less is more. Definitely. I want intro cutscene, middle cutscene, and then a final cutscene. I feel like that works better, and I think the developers understood that, because 2012 works that way also, same as Black. And maybe a new look entirely. Maybe we can have a mix between Black and 2012. 2012 was a mix between maybe Head On and Black, and that worked. I believe. The stories are not too bad in the 2012 version, and Twist Metal Black, the stories are not perfect, but acceptable. Music, we should definitely have original music, original orchestra, and allow us to customize tracks. I really like that. I like being able to add something from Spotify, or however people want to do it. Original tracks go a long way also. Marketing. I want a manual. Please give us a manual. I miss physical copies having manuals, and I still collect physical copies. I'll go to Walmart and still pick up something from behind the glass, because I love that experience. I don't like digitally downloading games. If I can pick it up at the store, then I will. I also want a strategy guide, an art book, strategy guide or an art book. Seems like they're still making art books if there's not a strategy guide. Fortunately, Elden Ring has strategy guides coming out. I got part 1. I'm still waiting for part 2. So, Twist Metal, if the new one has an art book, then that's fine. It doesn't necessarily have to have a strategy guide, because, I don't know. I would have to look at the Twist Metal Black strategy guide to see exactly what they wrote, because I'm just wondering how you write a strategy for that exactly. The cover art has been consistently fine and really cool. 2012 is actually one of the best, I believe. The way Twist Metal's hair flames up with the words in front of it works really well, in my opinion. Pricing. I don't know why I put this here. Not sure. It's going to be full price, obviously, for PS5. It's probably going to be a PS5 exclusive, or at least a time exclusive. I don't think Twist Metal has been available to anything else other than the Twist Metal 2 for PC. Bosses. I don't want anything like the 2012 version where you had to have this whole cinematic experience. More like Hammerhead in Mr. Grimm's story in 2012. I'd rather have boss fights like that than the doll face robot. I just didn't like that. I didn't find that fun. Now, I did like the Sweet Tooth Carnival driving track. I kind of have a soft spot for that. That was really fun because it was platforming. But the Twisted Metal Black boss designs are good enough. Just make sure you do something that's interesting and not antiquated. We don't want anything antiquated or feels old. We want something that feels new and appropriate for modern day game design. Now here's a list for just for fun. I'm not the biggest trophy hunter anymore. I used to be, but let's have a very tough trophies list of trophies. We should add old graphic filters. Why not? That's going to require this stuff here. Here's one thing. This list is just for fun. This is obviously going to take a lot more time to implement. So if it doesn't have these things, then it's not the biggest deal. It's just stuff I would like to just see. You know, it would be fun just to see, like old graphic filters, like have old PS1 graphics. That would be really funny. First person view. I don't think this has been an issue. I think all the games. I think all the games have had this. Correct me if I'm wrong, but we definitely need this. Again, entire classic roster would be very intriguing. Just have all the classic vehicles just upgraded with modern day graphics. Have them as special skins, and let's have a cool intro. Let's have a really, really fun intro. I still love watching the Twisted Metal 3 intro. That one's really fun. And you know the Rob Zombie track. Heck, what's it called? I can't think of the song right now, but it's a Rob Zombie song, and it's a really, even though it's just kind of you know what's going on, it's not very interesting. Just the song makes it work really well. What others want? I asked the Reddit and Facebook groups for Twisted Metal, which there aren't that many of. I think there's maybe one for each, one for Reddit and one for Facebook. And here, I just simply asked, what would you want to see in a new Twisted Metal game? And I only copied and pasted what I thought was interesting enough to mention. The first one, I think it'd be cool if they let you shoot multiple homing and fire missiles at a time. Even though I don't like the idea of getting out of vehicles, it'd be cool if the garage mechanic was brought back and you have to try to get there on foot after your vehicle is destroyed. It'd be awesome running over drivers to get extra health again, but I would want the on-foot mechanics to be as simple as something like Fall Guys, so that it isn't an utter slog to try to run someone over. I want a new Twisted Metal game to take inspiration from Tony Hawk Pro Skater 1 and 2 structure, where it seamlessly blends later entries, complex movesets with the classic level layouts. It'd be awesome riding around an HD Suburbia with Crazy 8 or something. Also, just hope they format the game like a classic Mortal Kombat arcade ladder, with each character being given a hand-drawn cinematic ending. If Mortal Kombat 11 could stuff their game with both a linear story and arcade endings, I think Twisted Metal could do it. I think he has several great points, including the being thrown out of your vehicle aspect. That sounds interesting, and also maybe out of formula. And you'll see in the footage that I have I recorded footage from the Sweet Tour from Twisted Metal Extra Twisted Edition, and the running and walking definitely doesn't need to be that floaty and light. I feel, in my opinion, this is me talking, by the way. This is no longer the person giving a suggestion. I feel like the mechanics should feel very similar to Grand Theft Auto 5, where it feels very heavy because you want to earn your way to the garage or something like that to get a new vehicle. I think that would be pretty wild if they wanted to do something like that. But in terms of going through a level, I just don't know. I don't know if forcing the player to do something like that is 100% necessary. So, moving on. This is number 2. Twisted Metal 2 modern day upgrade hidden in the game. And if you have to find characters from Twisted Metal 2 hidden throughout the game and just find them and play them in the upgrade and in the car perspective from the first one. So this is one of those things where it's like, should they put in the effort or just release this? They should just have a separate release of a Twisted Metal modern day upgrade. In terms of it being inside the game, I just don't think that's really appropriate. You want to have that a separate game, and so with that one I disagree with. Here's the third one. Make the single player mode challenging, and please make the AI enemies good. Make the AI enemies actually attack each other so it feels like a battle royale rather than repetitive 1v1. Also, have each of the vehicles have their own character. That's what made the original franchise so memorable. Now, cutting back to my perspective on this suggestion, whenever I hear battle royale, I just kind of irks me because I'm like, I don't want battle royale going anywhere near Twisted Metal. It just sounds so trendy to me, and but I understand what he's talking about. The other enemies need to be attacking each other. However, I feel like whenever other enemies are attacking each other, it's only their health is only chipped away slowly. That way, you don't have to just stand there. You do a whole pacifist run where you just don't do anything. That's just silly. That's one of my biggest complaints about Elden Ring, how you can just use a bunch of spirit summons to kill bosses. In my opinion, that's just wrong, and it shouldn't be in the game. So, Twisted Metal definitely shouldn't just have powerful AI so they can just do all the work. There just definitely needs to be a balancing. Have maybe random enemies just target you, and they're just relentless. So that way you're just not standing somewhere like, moving on. The next suggestion we have: the advanced attacks combos added actual skill to the game. I like to see these brought back. To use certain abilities, you had to input a combination of buttons, doing the combos correctly, and timing them added to the difficulty and skill needed to master the game. A free burst, napalm, high jump, energy shield, rear attack, drop mine, invincibility. They removed combos after Twisted Metal 2, apparently, and used an energy system for the abilities. This one thing I forgot to mention in my Hogwarts impressions and final thoughts is that I was kind of hoping that the magic spells would be button input based, without having to worry about cooldowns. As long as you inputted the buttons correctly, you could just simply type in the right buttons. However, Hogwarts Legacy didn't do that. I feel like it probably would have been a better combat experience if, as long as you put in the right input for a spell, that's all you would need. That way the combat could be as aggressive as you wanted it to be. However, like I said, we just didn't get that. And yeah, it is a good way to master the game. I've never been a personal fan of these effects. I've played around with them in the past, but I just never really found them really engaging to insert into my strategy. It felt more like an inconvenience. But they do need to be simple. They don't need to be anything overcomplicated. Left, right, up is good enough. Right, left, up, up, left. It doesn't need to be like up, left, right, down, left, right, up. Nothing like that. Nothing like Mortal Kombat level of complication. Our next suggestion: I want I want a new Twisted Metal like the original games, being more traditional and adding new things, new modding cars and updating cars and etc. Yeah, I would like to see that. I mean, upgrading your cars throughout the game is definitely very, very fun. And, just seeing how your vehicle, just creatively progresses in terms of changing the outside. Just, I don't know, it's something you got to be very careful with, because you don't want to destroy the concept of the character's vehicle. You want to keep it intact, but maybe just change some colors, some textures, and have them show in the cutscenes. Of course, you don't want this is an old game thing where you would have a different skin, but the cutscenes wouldn't continue that because it's pre-rendered. Like with God of War, you would have like a cow skin. However, in the cutscenes, it would just be regular Kratos because it was just pre-rendered. It wasn't, the cutscenes were not rendered along with the gameplay. Alright, so the last suggestion that I copied and pasted: story mode, same as Black, but with darker atmosphere if possible. Yes, I'm going to cut in and out here because he's got several dashes of what he wants. I just wanted to mention that, yes, I want a gruesome Twisted Metal game. I don't want anything like some kind of cutesy, all the way cutesy, just safe, just trying to hold back. I want Twisted Metal Black level, oh shoot, is this going to work? you know, through censoring, because sometimes a game can get so gruesome they just had to cut stuff. And you can, of course, you can only do so much, and the M rating is probably, a lot of games go T for teen, but I think probably the most popular games are around M for mature. Is whenever you see a T rating, it just is this probably not as appealing. It's weird. I don't know. So anyway, his second suggestion is bring back the old Calypso from Twisted Metal 2. Um, I mean, yeah. I mean, I mean, the Twisted Metal 2 Calypso's okay. I just like the one for Twisted Metal Black, and you know, more than likely that's Sweet Tooth, just without his mask. But yeah, the Calypso from Twisted Metal 2 is good. He's got a slightly burnt face, and he's just wild. But I don't know. I don't know. I'm very conflicted with that one because uh, I just have so much appreciation for the Twisted Metal Black design, regardless of the implications that it is Sweet Tooth, not Calypso. His third suggestion: the old character system, each character with their own vehicle. I didn't like the 2012 character system. I agree. I already mentioned this before. Customize your vehicles, paint rims, job, body parts. Yes, yes, yes. Split screen, 4 players. Oh yes, definitely got to have some couch co-op. Online with multiple options, 4 versus 4, 8 versus 8. Yeah, yeah. Now he mentions battle royale. I highly disagree. I do not want this in Twisted Metal. I don't know. Maybe I'm overreacting, possibly. They also mentioned flag capture. Sure. And they also want a world tour, but I feel like all the games do that. I feel like after Twisted Metal 2, they've all done that. Maybe Twisted Metal Black. Well, I don't know. Feels like every game has done that, so it doesn't really make any sense to really suggest that. But anyway, so sorry if that felt rushed. I didn't really want to make this too long. That's what I would like for my personal perfect Twisted Metal game. If you disagree, please let me know and we can discuss it. I'm open to change my mind about anything, by the way. I know a lot of people think that I will not change my mind, but there are certain things that I'm very strong, about. And especially if I have information to back myself up with. So if you have something that you feel like you strongly disagree with, please bring it up and we can talk about it. I love talking about this stuff, so please, if there's a conflict within your mind, bring it up. I hope you enjoyed my thoughts and hope you enjoyed the footage. I know some of my gameplay is very sloppy, by the way. I don't want to mention that some of these games, because the old games have a very slow controller adapt time, especially with the older games, because my gameplay with Twisted Metal 2 is very, very embarrassing. However, you can tell that I love Twisted Metal Black a lot because, oh yeah, I didn't record footage from Twisted Metal Black. I totally forgot about that. But I only have, let's see, I got about 40 minutes here, so I got well enough footage. Twisted Metal Lost is enough. But you can tell that I love Lost a lot more. You can tell I'm having a lot more fun with that one. But anyway, hope you enjoyed my thoughts, and we'll see you on the next topic of discussion.